What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another scooter video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to take your scooter from sounding like this to this. No one likes an undialed scooter, so in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a couple tips and tricks and give you the rundown on how to dial your scooter completely so it sounds like a basketball. I'm going to be using a couple common household things, so this is something you can do. Now, I know, I filmed a video about how to dial your scooter about 10 years ago now at this point, so it might seem a little redundant to make another video, but 10 years has passed, and there was a couple things that I did not get to put in that video that I'm going to be putting into today's video. So, without any more hesitation, let's get into it. My scooter sounds like absolute. The wheels are definitely a little undialed. The compression has become a little loose, and I think in my brakes probably a little bit on the undialed side. So what we're going to do first is run down the most common things that become undialed on your scooter. Then I'm going to show you guys how to fix them. And then I'm going to show you guys a couple things that you probably have never even thought about being undialed on a scooter that might be causing a slight rattle. The first thing I always check is the compression. The best way to do this is to put your scooter on the ground, step on your back brake, and then shake your handlebars up and down. Yeah, I got a little bit of wobble. I've been doing a lot of 5 flares, a lot of flat landings, and all kinds of stuff, and it has definitely caused the vibrations to make my compression come a little bit loose. I'm pretty sure also my front wheel is a little bit loose. A quick way you can test that is take it on the ground, hit it on the side. Do you feel vibration? This thing definitely is vibrating, so that means it's loose for sure. You do the same thing in the back where you do like a half tail up, just kind of let it slam. You're going to feel it real quick if there's a little rattle back there. Take your fingers back here as well. Check your brake. Is it loose? Mine's definitely a little loose. I can literally move it with my fingers. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to slide these bars off, tighten that compression, and see how it sounds after that. In order to take these bars off, I got to use a 6mm Allen key, which if you guys bought the Rise Complete, you would have got one included with your scooters. I should make a side note. This entire Rise Complete can be taken apart with just this 6mm Allen key. Even the brake bolts are 6mm. It makes traveling like a breeze because the only thing I pack is literally just an Allen key. It is like the perfect setup right here. Anyways, bars. Alright, we got the bars loosened up now, and if you guys ever wanted to hear a little pro tip for getting your bars off if they're a little tight or a little stuck, just like when you were testing your bars to see if they were shaking, step on that brake again, wiggle, 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 and they come usually right off. Now, a couple components on this guy that we're going to check first is going to be your compression system. This is usually where most of the vibration happens because all of the leverage from all of your lands happens from your handlebars, putting pressure on that headset compression. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take this top bolt out. This is your top compression cap, and this is your compression bolt. This is your shim to your IHC fork. If you're riding HIC, it's the same idea. SCS is slightly different, but it's the same idea. You're basically just compressing your scooter together. We're going to take off your pinch ring, compression ring, and look at that filth. Oh my gosh, you can work on this thing in months. Alright, we're going to go ahead and slide these bearings out. And you guys can see just how gross my fingers are from that. Get a view of that grossness. Get all that dirt off so it's not creakling around in our actual headsets. Now, at a certain point, if your scooter is just literally not redialing and your headsets are just like thrashed on and they are just so rattly, this might be a time to point out that it might be time to replace your headset bearings. If you guys do need any new headset bearings, go to RashProScooters.com. You guys can pick up some of the best headsets in the game. Now we're going to clean out the headset cups here. This is a big deal because we don't want to put clean headset bearings back into headset cups that have junk in them. We're going to use grease. And we're just going to get a little friendly here in the headset cups and just get some grease going in there. So when we slide those bearings back in, it has a nice spot that won't create creases, creaks and stuff. Basically, anywhere there's metal on metal, you're gonna want to add some grease to because it just helps keep down the friction and the pops and cracks and all the, the nasty undial sounds that we're trying to mitigate here. So we're going to put our bearings back in there. Should also mention, let's go ahead and clean up that fork a little bit. Don't want to put dirt back into the headset we just cleaned. And then we're just going to add a smidge of grease right around that bottom crown race down here. The bottom bearing on the fork first. Since we're going the extra mile here, we are going to also go ahead and clean off our shim. Pop that guy back on. And then a really important step is we're going to add grease to the threads of your compression bolt right here. We're going to dab it up in here a little. Perfect, just like that. That'll keep those threads from ever binding and locking and potentially stripping out if you ever went too hard on those. Oh yeah, nice and good. Now I personally like to ride my headset a little bit on the looser side, so what I always like to do is like crank down, get it nice and tight, make sure we're good, and I kind of back it off just a little bit. Not to the point, I kind of like throttle it. Back and forth, throttle on that middle ground where it's tight enough and not too tight to where my buttercups feel like I'm just like fighting it around the whole time. Now, next thing I'm going to mention about the compression area is entirely just remove your dust cap. Especially if you're riding IHC compression, the dust cap goes over top of the shim and there's actually nothing compressing it down. So that's one thing I just, out of the box, I literally just take off, remove, and ditch. I don't like riding dust caps. They actually create a weak spot on your fork. So if it was up to me, dust caps wouldn't even be a thing. But the standard is dust caps, so dust caps it is. But if you have the option to remove it, which you do, remove it. Then you just mitigate any potential vibrations right in there. Next thing we're going to look at is our wheels. So I'm going to start things off with this front wheel, which I can tell definitely has a little rattle in it. This is a really easy one because all we're going to do, take our 6mm Allen key, and because our Rapture forks have the nut literally built into the fork, the nut alignment built into the fork, we're just going to take it and just crank it back down. Instantly, you can just already tell it's going to be 100 more times dialed. That was really loose, actually. We're going to do the same thing to the back wheel now. This is a big deal because what takes all of your force when you're doing buttercups and stuff? Your back wheel. Slamming in the ground constantly. Now, if you're having any troubles with your bearings not tightening up, like say you tighten it up to the max and your bearings are just like still wobbling, odds are you've either got a busted bearing or just your bearings are not dialable. In that case, I would do like an if-and scenario. If your wheels still spin and you don't mind the dialed sound, leave it as is, just keep them tight. Now, the other scenario is if they don't spin well and they're undialed, probably a good time to replace your wheels, or at least your bearings. I have a video that will fully describe how to pop your bearings out and replace your wheels. If you've replaced your bearings and you still have a rattle in your wheels, it's very possible that your wheels are actually slightly ovalized, which means the metal core inside your wheels has basically been hit so many times that it's caused them to become like a slight size bigger. It's a very rare occasion when that does happen, but it does happen sometimes. If that happens, best scenario is just to replace your wheels. If you guys need some wheels, go to RattleScooters.com. All of our wheels are super light, super durable, and very, very grippy. Alright, we got front, back wheel, and compression for sure locked and dialed. Now I'm going to show you guys a quick little trick to getting your brake nice and dialed. Now I know for a lot of you guys are like, I don't want to cut my grip tape off to do the brake. I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy and discreet way to actually access your brake bolts without kind of massive square back here of grip tape just off just to access those. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice little razor blade. We're going to locate our brake bolts, use our fingers here, kind of push around a little bit, and I can feel right here, that's where the head of the brake bolt is. So we're going to take our razor blade and just cut out the center head of that brake bolt. And now look at that. We've got one brake hole fully exposed and ready to go. We're gonna do the same thing to the backside now. Now, that's literally about as clean of a job you can do right there. You barely even can tell that there's any grip tape missing, and you have full access to work on your scooters. So, now we're gonna take our 6mm Allen key, because like I said before, the entire Rise Complete can use a 6mm Allen key. If your scooter uses something smaller, maybe like a size 3mm Allen key, that's probably the most other common size. Besides that, we're talking 4 and 5mm. Those are probably the only other brake like head size that I can think of. But we're going to take this, give it a nice little snug. Okay, that was actually deadly tight. It might be this other one that's loose. Okay, that one was loose. Okay, so there's where that wobble was coming from. My front one was completely tight, but the back one was not tight at all. This, I can guarantee, is already sounding a million times better. Audio turn up. Dang, that sounds incredible. Now, we're going to talk about the bars. Now, you're probably thinking, what the heck on here could potentially even undialed? Like, this just slides on your scooter, then you tighten your bolts down, done deal, right? Not quite. We're actually going to pop these bars out. Sometimes after enough repeat hits on the side like that, worst case scenario, like that. Oh, that's the worst when you bend your bars. Your bar ends can sometimes become a little loose, get dislodged, or just completely just rattle inside your bars. They look snug, they look like they're in there ready to go, but they're actually just low-key rattling in your handles, causing this never-ending slight undialed sound. So, we're going to take them out. Now that was locked in, they're pretty nice and tight, so bar ends are not a problem on my setup. But if they are a problem on your setup, what you're going to do is just run to your garage, grab some electrical tape, run maybe 1 or 2 rounds of electrical tape around your bar end like that, and then just literally pop them back in. This will tighten up your bar ends so much to the point that they will no longer ever rattle, and if you ever are having problems with your bar ends actually falling out, this will like literally mitigate that problem entirely. Alright, now that brings us to the final thing to test and check for with an undialed scooter. We're actually going to clean out the inside of our bars right here. If you guys can see how dirty this rag is, that all came from my headset. That means that there is bound to be some caked up gunk Look at that. We want to get all that out of here. So when we're putting our scooter back together, that isn't inside there causing rattles and just little dirt and grime just causing creaks and cracks. All right, now we're gonna slide our bars back on. Now, the final step to make sure you have a completely dialed scooter is going to be tightening your bolts down evenly. If you crank down one bolt way too hard, you run the risk of not fully tightening your clamp. So what you wanna do is you wanna go one bolt, get it snug, go to the other bolt, get it snug. Alternate back and forth. Keep that clamping pressure even all the way through. And then when you get really locked in and you got your wheel aligned where you need to have it aligned, you're going to want to actually flip your scooter over and upside down like this. Now if you're on the ground, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to like tripod your scooter on the ground right here. And then you're literally going to be able to operate on your scooter with it staying on the ground, using the ground as the force, and be able to fully crank these bolts all the way down. Now I can guarantee this is going to be one dialed scooter. Let's go hop out there in the garage and make sure it sounds as good as I know it can. Just as I suspected. Sounds just like a brand new scooter. But now, it is so nice outside. I'm going to go outside and ride a little bit on the fresh dialed scooter because nothing's better than a dialed scooter session. So, I'm going to go head up to my local Central skate park and get a quick little session. Look at all these Raptor parts over here. This is epic. Oh, another one. Nothing beats a fresh dialed scooter. Literally feels like a brand new scooter out of the box. Just a couple twists of bolts, some little cleaning. You got what feels like a brand new scooter again. So get out there and go dial your scooter. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from today's video. If you did, make sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.